Hi everybody, it's Lou Sims from Lou Sims Papercrafter, and I'm here today to share the launch of a brand new set of memory book dies from Tonic Studios. This set is called Dream Big Keepsaker Wallet, and it is a massive set of dies, and there's lots and lots of metal in here. You're going to get 22 dies in total. You obviously get the main outside edge, as you can see there. And I'll try and lift it up. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different crease lines that you can use. So that means that you can fold this to be a straightforward wallet in 3 or 4 different places. You could gather these together and you've made yourself a small spine, so you've got a smaller album. Or alternatively, you can add it to existing pages. So that's the main die. As with Tonic, you get mats and layers, so you get a plain mat and then you get a decorative one there. On the opposite side, you get another cutting edge, which you can use plain, and then you get a beautiful decorative edge there. You've got 2 sentiments. This one is Dream Big, and this one is, I think it's Moments to Cherish. I can't remember off the top of my head. You've got a tag, which is layered. So you've got the main tag, you've then got an inner part, but you've also then got another panel here. Oh, she says, and a decorative part. So if you wanted to, you could even cut that away and have a photograph behind that way as well. Beautiful big corner, and with the tabs ready for gluing. And again, it comes with its own decorative panel. You've got another decorative die there, which can make a flower, but it also can make a really cool pinwheel. Also, what it's really good for is, you know, when you see on those envelopes where you can see the circles and then they tie the string, with some brads, that works brilliantly. And then you get 2 dies here, and these are your tickets, and they work seamlessly with the stamps. You then got a huge version of the paper strip to make the books, the dies that you like, you know, like when they look like they're torn away. So that's the actual die set, and the die measures 29 centimetres long and about 20.5 centimetres in height. The panels on the inside panel there measures 14.5 centimetres and 19 centimetres. So they are a good size for matting and layering. Love this shape. I think this shape alone, and you'll see when I share my album with you, just cries out also to be a pocket. It's such a beautiful design, and it's such a nice size as well that you can put some really big parts behind it. Now, along with that collection, there are some others coming out as well. So I'm going to take them out of the wallet. Just move this to one side. And you're going to get a couple of sets of what they're calling memory book essential dies. And you get decorative corners, you'll get banners, arrows, a heart-shaped tab which falls over, tickets, and also with its mat and layers. These are so you can cut away the corner of your rectangular or square papers, so you can get a decorative edge and work with the other memory books. More corners, banners, beautiful embossed stitch detail that you can put in. I don't know if you can see it, but it is beautiful. And again, more tickets. On this side here, we've got wording, we've got adventure. What's this one say? Never stop believing. You've got autumn, spring, summer, winter, time. It's a when. Remember, it's not just about the little things. Family, love, and what's I want to say? Imagine. And then that's one there as well called, I'm using it at the moment and I can't remember. I'll tag it in the video so you actually know which one that sentiment is, because I can't remember at the moment. So let's put them to one side. And then you get the stamps that go with it. And the stamps will go inside the ticket detail. See if I can overlap. So you can actually stamp directly onto your tickets. And they do both sides as well. even got stamps that will go inside. Where's the other ticket? Yeah, inside the smaller part that you cut away. You've got some decorative bits and pieces that stamp inside there or to be used separately. The arrow will decorate perfectly inside the arrow. And then you've got smaller stamps. And, oh, there's just a multitude there. I mean, you get, all in all, I think it's 30 stamps you get included in this A5 stamp set. And between the two memory book essentials, one set will come with, I believe, oh, let's have a check, 29 dies, and the other will come with 21 dies. So the two essential kits are equally, you know, rammed full of metal and perfect for memory books, but also perfect for your card making. The thought of being able to add your own decorative corners, when we all use the memory book dies to create our card bases, we can now create the Madden layers, I think is a genius idea. So I'll put all this away, and then I'll bring my album in and we can have a look through to see what I did with the actual dies and stamps. I thought I'd do the video to explain a little bit of my thinking process. Although this is an album, and it's quite a substantial album, as you can see, that's actually not the idea. What it is you take a partially completed book away with you, and you then add to it. So this is my travel diary, for want of a better expression. And the idea is it grows with you. You then can take it and take all the bits that you have collected to actually create into an album later. All the pages that I've put in are on elastic, as you can see here. And the reason for that is so I can slip the pages in and out. So let's make a start. So what I've done is I've created a pocket. Let's move that. Just using my title, which says Ireland Adventure. I've just created a pocket using the decorative part and the other main part of the die, and that's the front of my album. And in there I put a map of Ireland. Well, I just cut up a map, to be quite frank. And so then I can put different things in there. So this is my travel journal, so I can refer to it every day. I've obviously put a map of Ireland in there, and on the back I've put a note that says itinerary, date, plan. So a rough idea of what I think I might be doing each day. I've done another one separately, date and itinerary, so I could take out with me. And I've also done my places. You know, I go home to Ireland a lot, but there's still places I would still like to visit and things I'd like to do. So I think sometimes actually having an idea in your head. So now you can see that this is something that I'm going to take with me and fill. So if I open up, I've actually filled this as I've gone along. So it's not the bare bones of the album. I wish I'd shown you before I filled it, but never mind. So I've created a pocket, because you do get a pocket within the die set. And I've used one of the sentiments from the essentials, which is remember, and some of the tickets and the stamps as well. And I've created myself a little card. So this is about the flight details and other useful numbers, accommodation. And I've used the beautiful heart tab that you can get, and I've just filled in the middle. And they're going to sit there for the moment. All the backing papers I have used are all from brochures or leaflets that I have collected. So I always collect two. One, so I can use as a backing paper in my book, and two, so I've got it as a reference for when I go scrapping, or turn things into picture frames or whatever I want to do with them. So I always collect two for that reason. I always take a template with me. So for example, I would, if I wanted to use this a lot, I would cut it out of card and take it as a template so I could use it within the book. The same with the decorative sides. I die cut one of those and take it with me, so I've got it to use within the book. So I've made myself a quick notebook using some odd papers, Craft Perfect card, and again another little bit of a map. This is cut from the actual one of the layering dies, so to create the book. So I've just hung it overneath, so that's created it, and that's something I can write in as I go along. And now what I've done is I've split the book into the three sections that I visited when I was last back at home. So I've created myself, I don't know if you can see, 3 actual dividers, and within each of those is the 3 different places that I've been to. So when I come to record the memories, whether in another book or via pictures or whatever, I know what I'm creating for. I don't have to remember, and that's the idea of this book, is you don't have to try and remember. Everything's there for you. So if I have a look, I'll put them down. So the first place I've got is Carlo, okay, County Carlo, and I've created this wrap, and it's got magnets, and this is the tag die from Dream Big Keepsake, and these are one of the sentiments from the Essentials, and I've just created a wrap, so that will actually slide in and out, as you can see, because it goes through the elastic. I'll explain a little bit more about the elastic in a minute. So it's just a panel I can write on here. I've used some of the stamps that says date, so I could put 3 main dates on here and notes to myself. I've then written myself some notes. See if you can see, if you can read my handwriting. You know, remember to complete every day, checklist, date, who went, what happened, what photos need printing. Did you remember to get a leaflet or a brochure? Put receipts or tickets in the envelope. So just notes to myself for the first day. And this, as I said to you before, I take 2 booklets. So this is a booklet I've got, the Gordon Bennett route, and it's one that we drove. And all I've done is I've got another one, and I've started to cut it up to decorate the County Carlo page. So that's there. I've done some overstamping, used some of the die cuts. This is one of the words, adventure, that comes within the collection, and some of the wonderful arrows. Got a lovely stamp on here, on this day. I think that's brilliant, and I've used that a lot, because on this day can be a rhetorical question, or you can actually answer it. So as I said, so I've collected 2. So one I'll keep, and one I'll actually use for decoration. So if I put that back in there. So on this page here, as you can see, I've just created a pocket. I've still used the Gordon Bennett, but this time I've done a few photos. And I've done some tabs. Now, I always only do my tabs, so only half is stuck down. So you can slip a photo behind, and you don't have to try and work out a funny little shape, and you've still got a way to do it. Now, this sentiment here, Cherish the Moment, is also part of the same collection. And I've made an envelope. And the envelope is from the Exquisite Envelope release. So I've actually made an envelope, and again I've used a double page from the booklet, from the centre of the booklet, to create my envelope, so it still matches in with what I'm doing. And here is the elastic here, if you can see, and what I do is I thread each bit with the elastic. There's a loose knot there, and I put the envelope so it moves on the elastic, and all I need to then do is, when I want to work with these pages, I undo the elastic and everything comes away. I can then add another page or whatever I want to do. I need to stick that down again, but never mind. So in here, I put an envelope that I can clear things. So this is about, that was a street map of Carlo, and it was just giving me an idea of where I was. Oh, as you can see, I put a ring there. So the envelopes are there to put your tickets and your receipts in. You can put magnets on. I've chosen not to. I've used another one of those pockets, and again I'm using from the booklet, as I got 2. So in here I put paper clip, a leaflet that I've collected regarding Somewhere I've Lived. I've put a photo mount, and I do this just to remind myself that even if, you know, to print photos off, don't keep them. So that's going to sit in there, and I've made myself a pocket. The paper clips, I can't remember where I got them from. I think it was on a random trip somewhere. And then I've done a double pocket on using the opposite side. And I'll take this one off. And I put in another leaflet. Oh, 10% off. I think that might have gone by now. And as you can see, I've created a double pocket using the outside dies. And again, still using that booklet. It went a long way, that Gordon Bennett. I've printed myself out some crib cards, some memory cards, so like date and place, and I can write some details. And on the reverse, I've printed out, you know, photos to print. So this is reminding me that I might have taken loads of photos that day, but these are the ones I want to print that particularly go with this section of my book. So I'll just put that there. That's just the paper clips are just, they're not needed to keep everything in place. It's just an added bit of decoration. So that closes up and everything keeps together like that. And that there is all my memories about Carlow or County Carlow. So I know if I collect any more or I see any more bits, I can put them into the one space. I'm not having to try and work through my book. So the next section that I've done, same sort of closure, just decorated a little bit different, was about Dublin and staying in Dublin. And I've used one of the sentiment dies, which is Dublin, Dream Big. Same closure, it's got magnets. And again, this is from a street map and I collected 2 of them. And on the back here, I've just written out about Molly Malone, you know, Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty. Just as an added little bit, maybe it's something I want to add later on when I'm scrapping about staying in Dublin, or it's somewhere to refer back to when people talk about different things. Now I've created myself a notebook. The pages come out and then I can add things in there to it. I've used lots of the stamps. The notebook itself is cut from using the different layering dies and then just folded over. Again, elastic, like I said, so I can take pages in and out and I can make pages. So that is actually one of the layering dies folded in half. And then I can add more, take more away. And it's all about recording what happened that day. I've put another page there on this day, or to put a photograph. And then I've used some of the die cuts to make everybody aware that this is all about going around Dublin. This was part of a map that I've just cut up. And again, like I said, I collect 2 of everything. So I've made a pocket, but I've used a card that came when I went to visit Guinness. So inside here, I've just recording different things we did when we were in Dublin, where we stayed. Again, I've used the exquisite envelope die, and I've used a leaflet about lots of things you can do to create my envelope to store little booklets, receipts. As always, this is on a piece of elastic, and as you can see, the envelope can move up and down. I can untie the bottom of the elastic and everything comes away from my book, so I can then take the whole of that section. And because that section has got the magnets in, and when I take it all out and undo the elastic, everything comes away with me. I don't lose anything. So in here, for example, I've got about Dublin Zoo. I've got a Guinness. We've obviously bought something in the Guinness storehouse. I've then used one of the decorative pockets because these 2 pages here are the main part of the die. So this decorative bit and the plain bit there, and everything else has been added onto them. So I've just decorated that up, and as you can see, I've used another old leaflet I found. There's my visitors map, which has got, probably from there, as you can see, I collect 2, and that's one side, and that's the one I'm keeping. And again, I've put myself the photos to print, a place and date, again to remind myself to do it. And then I've got another part of the map there, and from where we've been. So you can add more or less. So this is all about our stay in Dublin. I haven't written down all the different memories as such, but this is how I would add to it. But I would write down what we have done, and I would record which photographs I want to print rather than just leave them on phones and cameras. So now that's Carlow's section, that's Dublin. So I can just take away the elastic and both of those 2 can come out independently from the book. And the last one is Wicklow. So this is all the things we did in Wicklow. So I've got Live Every Moment, which is another one of the sentiments from the collection, the Memory Book Essentials collection. And again, same closure, using the tag, magnets there. And we do that and keeps everything in. And all I've done this time is I've written a poem down that refers to Wicklow. So Old Ireland should blossom again. So, through Wicklow's green glens and wild mountains, I roved at the fall of the year, when the wild flower droops by the fountain, and the leaves of the woodlands are sere. When garden and field no longer yield sweets to the wandering bee, and the cloud-mantled streamlets meander through flowerless plains to the sea. And that's just verse 1. And that's just there that if I wanted to do something when I come to create a memory book, I've got this then, or these words to fall back on if I'm not sure what I want to do, that I could type up, handwrite, you name it. And that's why I do things like that, just to jog me when there's a gap that I'm not sure what to do. Made myself another small notebook. Again, this is the 2 layering dies that come with the collection of the Dream Big keepsake, folded in half, and a couple of staples. So I've got that with me. I could take this out with me and write notes in, but I have that there. And all my backing papers, let me see if I can find it. Ah, here we go. I've got a huge leaflet, as you can see, absolutely whoppingly great, huge. And I obviously took 2, and I've cut that up. Well, I've used it as a template, because obviously take these with you and you draw around and cut them out, to add as my decoration, my backing papers. So and then all your backing papers refer to where you're talking about, so that keeps your memory alive. So when you want to actually scrap about them, you can. So created a pocket, and in here, Wicklow Jail. Again, another place, date. I've got, because I've used it as well, it gives me lots of different things that was around in Wicklow. So it gives me, if I want to visit again, it gives me some ideas where I might want to go. So that's just a book there. And on this side, again, decorated another pocket using the tag, but I've used it as a pocket. And this is from a booklet. And I didn't want to keep the whole booklet because I only wanted to keep the bit that we got it for, which was for Wicklow. And what I've done is I've used some of the ticket dies and some of the stamps and just placed them near the places we visited, as you can see, so I can remember that's where we visited. And you can write some short notes like the date, who went. So rather than keep the whole booklet, I've just kept the pages that were relevant to the days out we had. I've used an envelope again, and the exquisite envelope, and this time I've still used that paper, as you can see from the one I kept. I've just put another leaflet on top this time, because it's information about the transportation day and things like that, and it's things to jog me. But I've got them, I can put all my tickets and everything like that in there. So that's all done and dusted. And then on this page, let's move these out of the way. As you can see, this was the original, so that's the original starting page there with the original pocket, and everything else has just been built inside. So I've put another pocket inside for more memorabilia, or anything really. You could put tags in there. I could make more tags. So obviously about Bray. I've done on the opposite side, as you can see, I've just cut out another one and put it in there and matted and layered it. And then I can put all my leaflets in there. Okay, so I've got my photos to print, place and date, so they're all ready to go. And then I can gather all my pages up together, and that now is all about Wicklow. So once like I said, once I've undone the elastic, I can take the whole of that with me, and then the whole of it comes away ready for me to immortalise if that's what I want to do. And finally, the fourth section. Now, the fourth section is just made of the actual die itself. So it's the whole die being cut out. And I always do this. One, just in case we do go back. And two, you know, different things to look up or you didn't get a chance to see. But I put ideas for our next visit. So I've collected brochures and everything like that I knew we couldn't go to this time round, but maybe the next time when we go and visit, we could go and do. So I put like to all the castles of Ireland, Connemara, John F. Kennedy Arboretum, Cork, Galway, and I've stuck a little post-it note in there saying post an idea in an envelope or just collect a leaflet. So that's just a little reminder to myself. Again, this is from a booklet about garden centres, and I just cut it up, and I've made a pocket there. So I've got houses and castles and gardens of Ireland, and I collected this one because I said like create our own castle adventure. So the next time we visited, do a tour, but the tour is based around all the different castles. So I got 2 of those, so that's where you can see where all these came about. So that's why I've kept it in the, you know, that could be another thing. I've kept a picture I found of Connemara, and I said revisit childhood holidays, because as a family we used to go to Connemara a lot, and go and stay up there. So this section is all about what I could do next. I've got an envelope, but this envelope, rather than using a leaflet, it has been made in white card, again from the Exquisite Envelope die, because obviously this is all about going forward. So I've just stuck ideas on, again, so like the Barroway, so I've just cut that bit out with a bit of picture. So all this envelope will gradually be decorated with things with different ideas. And inside here, I've got different ideas I want to go. So the Jameson's Distillery, John F. Kennedy Arboretum, as I said. So they're in there. I've cut out a picture, which is the Hook Lighthouse. And I've stuck it on the pocket part there. Just add a little bit decoration. And again, I've got more things in there. I've used a map again. This was from the Guinness Storehouse that I've kept. So nothing has been bought. It's all by different leaflets and maps and stuff like that that I've collected, that I've used to the decoration. So I've got trout fishing. It's not me. Altamont Gardens. Altamont, definitely want to go and visit the house, because my grandmother used to work there as a young girl at 14, 15. And then we've got Huntington Castle. So they're all different things I've collected, or I've torn out of. Obviously, I haven't destroyed any books doing so. It's all tourist information. And it's all about this section, ideas for our next visit. So that is what all this section is about. And you would gradually add more and more there as you see. And that's all I've done. And it's a great way of planning your next journey, or where you want to go. Because I think sometimes when we visit somewhere a lot, we assume there's still nothing left to do. And that's me. So that's the whole of the book, as you can see. So I'm just going to put this clip back on. Clip's not there. These will stay in. It's just there for an added bit of decoration. I carry a load of these around with me, because then I could clip things to here when you're doing your journal. So I'm getting tongue-tied. I do apologise. So that's the idea of this. So this is, you would create a bare bones book. You take some bits with you. You take some templates with you. And the idea is you fill it. I mean, obviously, I do make the closures in advance as well. But I don't label them until after I know what they're going to be. And all I've done is, when I've created the actual book, is I've put the holes in and along the spine to thread my actual elastic. So that's my book, and that's using the Dream Big Keepsake Wallet Creator. And at the beginning of this video, you would have seen me measure the dies and show you what was actually in the collection, some of the accessory dies and stamps. So if you're not sure what I'm referring to, if you whiz back to the beginning of the video, you'll get to see everything. Thank you.